In this problem, the first thing you're going to have to make sure and remember is what domain and range is. Domain is the x and range is the y. In this situation, for this problem, I would make a table. I have x and y, and it says what is the domain, what is the x, and you're given this function when the range, when the y numbers are 0, 6, and 11. So you would fill in your table this way. So let's go into the calculator. Let me move this over. And you're going to put in there 1/2 x plus 1. Now, we'll go up to the table, second graph, and you're going to look and see where y is 0. So let's go up. Y is 0 when x is -2. So I have -2. Pull back up the calculator, look and see where x is, or I'm sorry, when y is 6. Right there it is 10. And then you'll look again and see when y is 11. And it is 20. Now once you have filled out the table this way, you're going to come over and you're going to have range equals, and you're going to put that set notation. Normally it goes in numeric order from smallest to largest, -2, 10, and 20. But as long, the points can actually be in any order. As long as they are all there, then that is correct. Here's another one. What is the range? I would underline this. Range is y. When the domain is, and so go over here to the table and put in your numbers. Domain is x, -1, 0, and 1. So we will go up here to the calculator. You will put into the calculator 2x minus 1, and you'll press second graph. And you'll go and look where x is -1. Let me go up here. All right. When x is -1, y is -3. So you'd put -3. When x is 0, y is -1. And when x is 1, down here, y is, when x is 1, y is 1. So my answer right here, would be 1. Now, I would have range equals, set notation, -3, -1, and 1. The next one says a rental company charges a flat rate of $25 per day plus $10 or 10 cents per mile. How many miles did Linda drive if her total bill was $65? So they want you to write an equation. Okay, so first off, they want to know how many miles. This is going to be my independent variable. Well, what letter is independent? That's right, it is x. So right here, this is talking about per mile. So I'm going to have 10 cents times x. Now it's a one-time fee of $25 for the day, and that equals 65. Now from here, if we want to find how many miles, we need to solve the equation. We would subtract 25 from each side. I would get 0.10x equals 40. We would divide by 0.10 and find out what x equals. So you'd go in your calculator, put in there, let's move it to the side again, go in the home screen right here and put 40 divided by 0.1 and press enter. It is 400. So in this case, Linda would have driven 400 miles. The next one, the table shows the weight of a box of oranges depends on the number of oranges in the box. The weight includes the weight of the box. What is the weight in ounces per orange? Okay, the weight of the box depends on the number of oranges. Well, first off, we know that the y depends on the x. So the number of oranges is the x, and the weight is the y. It wants us to find how much it is per orange. They're asking us to find the slope. Now, the first thing I would do is go and turn my table the other way. It makes it easier the way we're used to doing it. So I have 5 and 27, 10 and 42. You don't have to do all of them. Just pick the first two numbers. Remember, this is x and this is y. To find the slope, we will do delta y, which is 42 minus 27, which is 15. Delta x, 10 minus 5 is 5, or what do you have to do to 5 to get to 10? Now you do delta y over delta x. 15 over 5 is 3. So it says, what is the weight of ounces per orange? It is 3 ounces per orange. Next, the cost in $C of an overseas call depends on the number of minutes M and is determined by the formula. Okay, remember, Y depends on X. So an overseas call, that's the Y, depends on the number of minutes, that's the X. Here's your equation though. It said, how much would a 50-minute call cost? So the cost equals, we're going to take 5 plus $1.20 times the number of minutes. Well, that's 50 minutes. So let's go over here and just take, you're just going to take 5 plus at 1.2 times 50 and press enter. It is 65. So it would cost $65. Here's the next one. It says the table below shows the amount that a senior class paid for t-shirts sold. Write an equation in cost for the cost in terms of the number of shirts. Well, what I would do is I would turn my table around because that's the way we're used to doing it. And I would put 10 and 70 and 20 and 120. So here I have delta y, the change in y. That's plus 50. Delta x is plus 10. So you're going to take delta y over delta x to find the slope. 50 over 10 is 5. So I'm going to put the 5 here. 5 times 10, well, when you multiply that together, that gives you 50. What do you have to add to 50 to get to 70? Yes, 20. So now your equation is the cost is $5 times the number of shirts plus 20. It says, how many shirts were purchased for $237? Well, if you think about that, I want to, where do we put the dollar amounts? Do we put them in the X column or the Y? You put them in the Y. It's 237. So if I go up here and go into Y1 and I put 5n plus 20, 5x, not n, I guess, in the calculator, plus 20, for a second graph, I'm looking for 237. I'm not quite sure why they gave us that number because it's not going to work out evenly. But if it was close, could I purchase 44? Because look, 44 is $240. If I only have 237, do I have enough? No. The most I could get is 43. So, and I wouldn't be, because otherwise with 237, it would give me a decimal. Can you buy half of a shirt? Some of them look like they're half of a shirt, but really you have to pay for the whole shirt. So 43 shirts. Now the next one says, what is the cost of 650 t-shirts? So the t-shirts are in the X column. Now one way you could do this is 5 times 650 plus 20. Or you can go in the calculator and go and look and see where X is 650. Now that would be a long way down here. But you could go second window, type in 650 and press second graph. That would be over here at the Y would be 3,270. So it'd be $3,270. Next, it says Brenda walks dogs to earn money to buy a car. She charges $3 per dog and a service fee of a $10 session. So here's the equation where X represents the number of dogs to be walked and Y is the total earnings. What does the slope represent? Well, first off, which number is the slope? The slope is this number 3. What does that 3 match up with? Well, right here, it has it right there. It's $3 per dog. So your slope is how much she charges for each dog. 29. Bobby wants to earn money for her prom dress, so she babysits for her neighbor. She charges $5 an hour and $20 as her initial salary. Then they give us an equation, okay, and they tell us what X represents and Y represents. What does the Y-intercept represent? Well, which number is the Y-intercept? The Y-intercept in this equation is right here at 20. 20, it matches up in the word problem right here. It is her initial salary. So the answer is C. Here's the next one. The graph shown represents books read to students who read at a rate of 3 books per month. So this right here is showing you up 3 and over 1. Okay, so everything is up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Which of the following graph best represents the number of books read by a student who reads at a rate of 4 books per month? Well, 4 is bigger than 3. So is my line going to be steeper or flatter? Remember, the farther away from 0 you get, so the farther away you get from 0, the steeper the line. So I know it's not B because B is flatter. Now these next two are really kind of close. Let's check and see if it's 4. So if I start here and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 1, that doesn't quite match. Let's go down here and try this one. If I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 1, sure does. 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 1. So your answer is C. The next one. Joey borrowed $1,400 from his brother to buy a fishing boat. Each month he pays his brother $20 towards the loan. This situation is represented by a linear function. It gives you the equation, tells you X is the number of months Joey has been paying on the loan, and Y is still the amount owed. What is the X-intercept in this? Oh, I didn't mean to cross that out. I meant to highlight it here. The problem is asking us, what is the X-intercept of the situation? Okay, so if I did this and I went and I was trying to find my X-intercept because the line is going to go down because you're paying them back. What is this point going to mean? This point right here, we're going to have some number in the X and 0 will be the Y. Well, Y is the amount still owed. This is the amount still owed. And this is the number of months that he's been paying on it. Well, when you get down here to the bottom and you don't owe anymore, this point is talking about the number of months it takes for Joey to have paid off the loan. Here's the next one. Which of the following can be concluded from the graph below? In these cases, you're going to have to look through each one of these to figure out which it is. This one says there is no correlation. B says there is a positive correlation. And C says there is a negative correlation. Looking at this right now, if I start here, what is the trend? The trend is going up. If it goes up, it is a positive correlation. So your answer should be B. See, if it was a negative correlation, the dots would be going down like this. And if there was no correlation, it could be going flat. It could be just all over. Okay, either one of those would be a negative correlation. All right, next, this one, there's a lot of problems that are on this one. So let's look and see. It talks about A local zoo opened in 1970. The cost of admission has changed over time, and it gives you this table. See, this is the number of years since it's been open and the cost to get in the zoo. What is in a reasonable, which of the following best represents the trend line for the data above? Well, it doesn't go by a set amount each time. So here's what I would do. I would go in the calculator to remember how to put in a scatter plot. Let's clear our memory from the beginning. Let's go to Stat and enter. Let's put the number of years into L1. 5, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And let's go into L2 and put in there the prices. $2.50. What is that? $3.75. $4. $5.25. $6. $7.25. And $8.75. Okay, so now to get these to graph, because if I press graph, it's not going to show anything. You have to go second y equals, enter. Turn your stat plot on. Now let's press graph. Well, it only shows a couple of the points. You need to change your window settings. So you need to press zoom 9. There's your trend line. Or not your trend line, but there's your scatter plot. So now let's figure out which one of these works best. So what you'll do is go to y equals, and we're going to put in there 5 halves x minus 10. Press graph. Does that work? Oh no, that's way too steep. That doesn't work. Try the next one. Let's go with 5 fourths minus 5. Oh, there we go. Let's press graph. Nope, that's still too steep. Let's try 1/2 x. Closer, but still not working. I hope this last one works. Otherwise, maybe we messed up on our line. I've got 1/4 x plus 1. And I press graph. Sure does. You see how it goes through the majority of those points? That means that that is a good trend line. Now it says, which of the following would be a reasonable estimate for the emission cost of 35 years? So we're looking to see where x is 35, because x is the number of years. So let's go. We've already found our trend line. Let's go into the calculator right here and go second graph. Let's look and see where x is 35. You can hold down the button and go to 35, or second window, type in 35, second graph. Right there, it would be 975. Do we have an answer like that? Yes, we do right here. The next one says, how many years after the zoo is open would you expect to pay $16? I guess with the price of inflation. The dollars go in the Y column. So on this one, there's no quick way to go to 16. So you have to just go down and find where Y is 16. There it is. So it would be 60 years. Now it said, to which of the situations, no, I guess this one doesn't really go along with this problem, but that's okay. To which of the following situations can the function y equals 3x plus 40 be applied? Okay, well, it says the number of pennies in a jar if there are 40 pennies and each person removes 5 of them. Well, wait a minute, 5's not even in the problem, and if you remove them, that has to be a minus sign. So it's not A. Jack's earning if he makes $40 in tips and $3 per hour. That could be it. Let's look at these other ones. The total number of hours Tim works if he charges $40 an hour. Okay, well, no, $40 each hour, he'd have to multiply that. And then the next one says 3 shirts cost $40. That does not go along with it. So the answer would be B. Here's the next one, talking about domain and range. First off, remember that this is x and this is y. You need to remember that x is the domain and range is the y. So if it says, what is the range of the graph above? First off, what does the y, and we know it's y. Are there any x's to get rid of? Yes, this one says, see how this says x right here? That means that B is not the answer. So on this, let's see, it starts at 10. Even over here, the smallest it goes to is 10, and it goes all the way up to 100. So the answer is not 0 to 100. It'd be right here where it says 10 to 100. The next one, I know that domain is x. X is going across here. The y's cancel out, right? That y, it cannot be, oh, let me try that. It doesn't cancel out. But y is not the domain, so you would cross it out. And I would start at 0, and my data goes all the way to 7. So your answer would be C. Next, it says circle the independent and, circle the independent variable. See, this is what I do. I circle it, and I underline the dependent, because you never know how they're going to ask you. Now, remember, independent is what happens first. Dependent is the result. Well, the number of hours worked determines the amount of your paycheck. What happens first? You have to work first. And the amount of your paycheck is the dependent variable. The cost of renting a car depends on the number of miles you drive. Well, you have to drive the miles first. Then your total cost of renting the car is your end result. Here's the next one. The graph below records the number of leaves that have sprouted on Dahlia's new tomato plant. Which of the following can best be concluded about the data above? When Dahlia started recording the data, the plant had 2 leaves. Well, when they started recording, what did each one of these lines go by? It looks like 5, 10. Right here, when she first started, there were 5 of them on there. Not 2, because my y-intercept is 0, 5. The plant grows at a rate of 4 leaves every 5 days. Well, let's see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days. That plant has grown by 5, almost 10 each time. So not 4, that's not it. There was a time period when the plant did not sprout any leaves. Wait a minute. This is constantly going up at the same rate, so it did always sprout leaves. The next one said, after 12 days, the plant had a total of 30 leaves. So I go to 12, and I'll go up here, and I'll go over, and sure enough, it says 30. My answer is D. Next one, circle any of the following that has a linear, they're all connected, that represents a linear function. Remember, to be linear, it has to make a straight line. So when it makes a straight line in a table, that means all delta y divided by delta x is the same. So right here, delta y plus 3 plus 12 minus 3, plus 1 plus 4 minus 1. Let's see. 3 over 1 is 3. 12 over 4 is 3. Negative 3 over negative 1 is 3. All of these right here are the same. That means that this is a linear function. They just got it written in some crazy order. Let's try the next one. Negative 7 plus 3 plus 3. Delta x plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. This says negative 7 over 1 is negative 7. 3 over 1 is 3. Those are not the same. That does not work. Down here, this is plus 1. This is minus 7 and minus 1. This is plus 1, minus 3, minus 1. I have 1 over 1, which is 1. 7 over negative 3. Well, that does not equal 1, so this doesn't work either. The next one, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 3, plus 7, plus 1. 1 over 3, 1 over 7. Those do not work. So the only one that is linear is that first one. You guys have